Income inequality, part deux. Wow, for something that's not really that interesting to have a second video blog is pretty crazy, isn't it? But let's remember what we talked about earlier, that income inequality is a symptom, not a cause. And I'm not an economist, never held out I was an economist, bored with economists, but I sure love politics and have watched it for as long as I can remember. And this same stuff goes on over and over and over and over again. It's their fault. This is what we talked about back when we spoke about everyone being an American instead of being an ethnic. It's their fault. Nobody takes on anything but credit. Nobody takes blame. Let's look at what's happening here. Right now, the problem is that that because of the recession, because government did nothing, we had to rely upon Ben Bernanke, who could only feed money into areas where only the wealthy get that money. And because the government refuses to make the regulators back off and allow the banks to make loans or direct the banks to make loans, then the banks can get all that free money and not worry about it. And all the rich companies, the big cash-rich companies who don't need loans, can get money for nothing and not worry about it. Yet it's the middle class and what they pejoratively termed as the great unwashed that everybody's blaming for that kind of a problem, is getting hurt. And it's the great unwashed, I hate that term, that they blame. So it's not just the Democrats blaming the rich people, it's the Republicans blaming the poor people. You got the Republicans saying, hey, look at all the disability income going out there. Look at all the welfare going out there. These people, they got to work. Where are they going to work, guys? When are you going to get jobs for them? When are you going to worry about the economy? So the politicians do what the politicians do best. They blame everybody else. So for the Democrats, it's, hey, it's the rich people who have the money, and we got to take it from the rich people. And the Republicans sit around and go, it's the poor people who are taking the money and doing no work for it, and they're killing our economy, and we got to put caps on that, so we got to deal with that. And meanwhile, the middle class is what I used to be heard termed the bologna in the middle of the sandwich. The bologna always gets squeezed. I don't eat bologna. Ugh. The bologna always gets squeezed. And that's what's going on here. So the politicians, instead of looking at themselves and pointing at themselves and saying, we've got to work on the economy, we've got to get the economy to grow so that the pie grows bigger and everybody does better, instead of just, hey, we're going to leave it up now, of course, to Janet Yellen. We're going to leave it up to Janet Yellen. She's going to be the Fed head, and she's going to be able to take care of everything. Well, she's not elected. She's a bureaucrat, and she's very limited to what she can do. Basically, keep the economy stable and keep interest rates from going too crazy. And keep inflation from going too crazy. Hopefully, then being able to keep interest rates under control. That's all the Fed can do. That's all they can do. And what's the government doing? Blaming you, blaming me, blaming everybody but themselves. So when you listen to the president talk in the State of the Union, and you watch each side get up and cheer and make the false huzzas, and the other side gives the, I'm standing up and cheering, but I really don't care. Remember that all they do is point at each other and really point at us and try to use us to turn on everybody else. Gosh, it's easy when you're living up on the citadel, up on the hill, and you can get everybody to be able to turn on everybody else instead of worrying about your own job and doing what you've got to do. Then you're successful, and that seems to be what politicians do and how they do it so well. Meanwhile, our economy does okay, plenty of cash out there. It's going to turn eventually, but it's not helping people. It's not helping the regular people. It's not helping anybody except Wall Street. And then what they do is they just sue Wall Street and the banks and try to get the money back from them. Why give it to them if you're going to sue them? Give it to them and make them lend it. Come on, wake up. What a sad situation. We need new leaders. If you actually watch the State of the Union tonight, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm Tuesday, and I'm going to give it a shot. And we see something and try not to fall asleep. Remember what we're talking about. It's everybody else's fault. It's never their fault. Meanwhile, they're the ones we hire. They're the ones we pay six figures to. They're the ones we give great health care to. They're the ones we give great pensions to. They're the ones we let cruise back and forth and raise money and get wined and dined. And we're the ones getting hurt. Peace.